Everyone, Macaulay Douglas Bartholomew Reginald Esquire the Fourth here. Not currently on air. This is early in the morning for me, and we are recording the end of Dragon's Elite Specialization's Untamed Ranger, which came out this morning while I was still asleep. And yeah, this is going to be my first look at the trailer. Going to analyze it, react to it, predict all the fun stuff as we did for the other classes. This is the second to the last one, which would mean that the engineer will probably be tomorrow. But for now, let's just jump into it. Gonna watch the whole thing without pausing and then go back through it and pick our way through it. We were right about the icon.
Ancient forces of nature dwell within Echovald, and the Untamed have learned to channel them through the bond they share with their pets. Their earth-shaking hammer blows keep enemies dazed and off balance, while their pets' attacks are bolstered by raw primal energy. The power of nature flows back and forth between the Untamed and their animal companion, empowering their killing blows.
It's a weird feeling. I feel like I've got so little and so much to say at the same time. Okay, let's back up. I'm gonna turn it down a little. So, really quickly, for those who don't know, Ranger is my most played class. I've got, I don't know, like five or 6,000 hours in Guild Wars 2, and like 80% of that's on Ranger. The remainder is mostly on Engineer or Necromancer. So let's just go back through it here. So first off, they're absolutely getting hammer. It was pretty obvious by the time we saw the silhouette. Now, when people saw that silhouette, the first thing that a lot of people thought of was a build that most of the community called the Bunny Thumper. Now, Bunny Thumper was in reference to a build in Guild Wars 1. In Guild Wars 1, you picked two classes. The Ranger Fighter Hybrid could use a hammer to constantly knock down and stun people while their pet killed them. Now, the pet doesn't do a lot of damage, but if the other guy could never play Guild Wars, they were just stun locked until the pet killed them while you just kept stunning them with a hammer. And so a lot of people thought this would be that. It has some similarities in idea, but it looks like it will play a bit differently. Now, right away, you know, we saw the tiger next to him. I find it interesting that they didn't show one of the new animals. Maybe they want to keep that a secret right now. Maybe there's not new animals. I assume there's going to be new animals. Both Heart of Thorns and Path of Fire each added, I believe, 4. And the one that I'm predicting for End of Dragons, or one of the animals I'm predicting for End of Dragons, is the Phoenix. Guild Wars 1 had a Phoenix in it, but it looks like if there is new animals that they want to keep that on the down low right now, and they just show us a tiger. Now, the class icon. I called this one from the very beginning. I thought that this was the Ranger icon, but it looks like I might have been wrong in my reasoning. When I looked at that, I thought it looked almost like an animal face and like armor at the same time. And the first thing I thought of was actually like rhino, like their hide. It's like it's an animal, but it's like it's almost armored at the same time. And I wasn't sure if this was going to be the face of some new animal type that we get as a companion. What was it? There was something else. Oh, I briefly thought at one point that this was going to be a shield, like that was a shield for Ranger, but it looks like it might have been off on both of those. All right, so right away we've got this thing. It looks like he's channeling, and there's this energy swirling around him. I'm wondering if this is going to be the F5 button. So Rangers, their F1 through F4. Controls the pet, or I should say F1, F2, and F3 control the pet. F4 swaps your pet, and then the F5, or you know, you can rebind it. Mine's like mouse button 4 or something like that. Is for the Soul Beast, the merge and unmerge button, and for the Druid, it is the Astral Form button. If you've built up enough Astral Power, that's how you enter it. So this, I don't know what to call this. I'm going to say Primal State. For the duration of this video. Also, he's got the resistance buff right now. I'm wondering if the primal state might not always be active. Like, you activate it, and then you can move it between you and your pet based on certain actions, but maybe it's not always on. So this very cool animation might be this Asura entering the primal state.
Ancient forces of nature dwell.
All right, so he does that, and you hear like a very liquidy, oily sound, and then this energy almost like just splashes out of the pet.
Forces of nature dwell within Echovald, and the Untamed have learned to channel them through.
I have mixed feelings about the sounds. It sounds very like goopy when but like when the pet hits, when the hammer swings, it almost sounds just like oily.
And the Untamed have learned to channel them through the bond they share.
All right, so right here, this animation, it's got a different skin on it, but this is a skill called Life Seed. Well, let me correct that. The graphic for this is Astral Form, Druid Astral Form 2, which is Life Seed. They summon one of these things, but it's glowy and it's pretty. And then it's like swells up and then pops, and then it cures a couple of conditions and does some very minor healing. Additionally, it also makes, I believe, a light field, and then you can combo it to cure conditions. Now, Life Seed shares this graphic, only summons one of these things.
With their pet.
And it looks like with a wave of your hand, you summon a ring of 6 of them, and then they swell up and pop. Now, with Life Seed, which has the same thing where you summon it, and then it has to swell up and then explode. In PvP, it is very hard to hit a target with it. Now, Life Seed's a heal. You might use it to try to heal your allies, but 9 times out of 10, they'll run out of it. In PvE, it's not that bad. You know, there's lots of fights where your groups are hanging in one area, and you can land that skill. So when I see another skill like this, now first off, this is a lot more coverage because you summon 6 of them instead of 1 of them. The first thing I think of is this might be harder to land in PvP. However, again, it has apparently 6 times the real estate. So this might be good, like, assuming this is a threatening move. I assume it does damage from the looks of it, and maybe even buffs the pet by the flash of energy. This is a good shot. The skill might shine better in PvE or might be used for zoning in PvP. It could be a hammer skill, or it could be one of the new utility options. I can't imagine that's the heal or the elite.
Untamed have learned to channel them through the.
But yeah, the way he just he waves an arm, almost. It doesn't matter what's in his right hand. It's just a hand wave. I'm gonna guess that that's gonna be one of the new utilities of some sort.
Bond they share with their pets. Their earth-shaking hammer blows keep enemies dazed and.
All right, so, you know, we see some images of the pet. Now, other than, like, the flashiness going on around the pet's attacks are using the normal graphics. So we got another bonk there, another flash. That could have been a special skill, or might have been just a normal auto attack chain, not sure.
While they're
right there, of course, very flashy move. We've got an AoE knockdown. I would guess that this might be the Hammer's 5. Many, not all, but many weapon skills, if they've got a stun, it's on the 5, especially if it's an AoE move. You know, that's the big move at the end. So that's what I would guess that is.
Their pets' attacks are both.
So we've got some sort of spin animation, some kind of whirlwind type thing. Same animation as the Engineer's the Scrapper Hammer 2. Which they spin. Now, of course, in the Engineer, they've got like a bubble that they're in while they're doing the spin, but it's just no bubble here, but it is the same spin animation.
Bolstered by raw primal energy.
All right, now that right there, the Tiger has a move in its own kit where you hit F2, it kneels down, or crouches down, and this white, like, channeling energy builds up, and then it pounces. And I think it's actually called, like, Pounce or Feral Pounce or something like that. And it does bonus damage after like 2 seconds. It's a gap closer if you're within a certain range, and it gives your group Fury. This could just be that Pounce, but upgraded somehow because of this primal mode. Or it could be something completely different. It could be that you've got this new thing that like orders your pet to do a big attack, and then this is that big attack. Is the green above it is certainly new.
Energy.
So it basically is the same animation as the Pounce, but then with a whole lot more added with it, being all that green stuff.
By raw primal energy.
I wonder if that was just that flashiness was just to show that he did, you know, it could have been so many things. Either, you know, additional damage to the target, or that made it cleave and he did area of effect damage. I'm not sure.
Power of nature flows back and forth between the Untamed.
All right, so the primal mode left the pet and then went over back
and
to
their animal.
I almost said soul beast, the ranger.
Companion, empowering their killing blows.
Now he's glowing. So it's interesting. I feel like I'm doing so much more guesswork on this one than a lot of the other predictions. Bottom line, we see them taking turns glowing green while he swings a hammer and the cat attacks. That's 90% of this video. But yeah, at the beginning, you know, we saw him channel, which seems to be like entering the mode, and he had the resistance buff while doing it.
Forces of nature.
So maybe you have to kind of power up at the beginning of a fight, maybe a couple seconds channel to enter this mode. So again, the big question here is, what does this mode do? Judging by, you know, the hints that the narrator was giving, we're assuming that it's going to be some kind of damage increase. Now, the tiger for a second is one of the most fragile pets in the game. The cats and the bird family usually just die if any damage looks at them. In PvP, you know, usually if you see a core or a druid, they're not using cats or birds most of the time, because if a firebrand or if a weaver are in the same zip code as them and they do lots of area effect damage, those animals would just get deleted instantly. Now, you know, this is just a trailer. That doesn't mean that this is going to increase the pet's toughness, but one of the things I immediately wonder, seeing these two NPCs beating on a tiger and it not being instantly dead, is that maybe this primal form increases the pet's durability at the same time. You know, so one, it might just increase damage output. Two, it might increase damage output and also sustain in some way, be it like toughness, vitality, just flat damage reduction, life stealing, something like that. Any of those might be possible. And then the fact that you can move it back and forth between you and the pet is interesting. I wonder how you do that. Do you just tap F5 again? Or do you have, like, maybe you've got one button, like order your pet to do a huge attack and move the primal energy to the pet at the same time if they don't have it. And then you've got another button that's like, you do a big attack and then take the primal energy back if you don't already have it. You know, it might just get baked into another existing skill. But yeah, there was nothing here that looked excessively flashy that made me just be like, oh, you know, and like, you know, drop my jaw. There was nothing here that made me like absolutely sure that's the elite skill. If we saw it, maybe it was subtle. You know, maybe it could have been like a buff or something like that. You know, we got these big seed bombs. I'm guessing that those are going to be a utility, but I guess we'll find out. But honestly, I'm left with more questions than answers. I'm eager to see what exactly the primal form does. I'm wondering if it will possibly make many pets that are unusable usable. For those that don't play Ranger, I'm just going to TLDR this, but like, there's like 40 pets or so, and like 2/3 of them are never used in any game mode at all. The spiders, the devourers, those entire families of pets are just so bad, they're never used. It'd be interesting to see if this thing offers some sort of stat boost, if it suddenly brings back some old pets that were just not used because of just scaling. But yeah, that is the Untamed. That's what we know so far. Very eager to see the presentation that I believe is on Friday, where we learn all the details of this class and see what's happening, you know, kind of behind the scenes here that we're missing. I believe tomorrow we'll be getting the Engineer sneak peek, and then the following day we'll have the full breakdown. But that's it for today. If you see anything I missed in this, please point it out in the comments for me and all the other people here. Till next time.